These are the most shocking animatronic moments in history. We're diving into accidents, abandoned animatronics, and most importantly, the creepiest ones ever built. You rank these moments, so don't go anywhere.
Like always, Quack Bird.
Animatronic alert! Lilly Belle's plushie has officially arrived and is ready for pre-order. We're launching this as a crowdfunding campaign, and we need at least 200 orders to bring her to life, so every single plush matters. Just look at her. She's cute, cuddly, and full of animatronic sass. Pre-order now, link in the comments and description. Alright, you guys voted and poor chicken ended up in last place. Tough luck. This segment is narrated by the amazing Willow Engel.
At the Royal Gorge Dinosaur Experience, where there are 16 life-size T-Rex models. But for a while, there were 15 because Chicken, one of the T-Rexes, burned to the ground. An electrical shortage caused this dino to burst into flames. Staff hustled everyone away from the T-Rex that was consumed in less than 10 minutes. Fortunately, no one was injured, and Chicken's owners took the incident with a sense of humor, stating they knew he had a temper, but today he blew his top. More than 6 months after a 15-foot animatronic was burnt, a new T-Rex took its place. So thankfully, Chicken came back stronger than ever.
And now we're at number 12, a giant head that'll trigger your megalophobia the moment you see it.
Whenever we think about animatronics, we link them to the entertainment industry. We might think about theme parks, films, live shows, or television. But animatronics have had many more applications in the last few years. We've seen a rise in companies dedicated to robotic research in the last few years, such as Boston Dynamics and Engineered Arts. And then there are companies that create animatronics both for entertainment, and often they also make them for educational purposes. Legacy Effects is one of those companies. You might know Legacy Effects for their work in the Jurassic World Apatosaurus animatronic and many more projects. But one remarkable example of animatronics used for educational purposes is the collaboration between Legacy Effects and Siemens to explain the technology behind the Biograph medical imaging system. They created a huge molecular imaging animatronic head. Legacy Effects utilized 3D scanners to create a highly detailed base, which was then refined using ZBrush to sculpt a reference model. The gigantic sculpture was meticulously handcrafted to create the mold for the animatronic. The animatronic's eyes were painstakingly hand-painted to achieve maximum detail. Each hair follicle was individually inserted by hand onto the giant latex mask, which was painted with meticulous detail to simulate the natural deterioration of the skin. In addition, a massive LED screen was incorporated at the back of the head to display the visual representation of a brain with neurodegenerative diseases. The main function of this animatronic was to demonstrate the difference between a normal brain and one affected by beta amyloid plaques, one of the leading indicators of Alzheimer's disease. To achieve this, the team focused on developing mechanisms to control expressions, primarily in the upper face. Gigantic programmable servos were used and could be controlled remotely if needed. The animatronic debuted in 2012 at a conference in Chicago, where Siemens showcased the Biograph system. Thanks to this animatronic, Siemens' team was able to explain the high precision of their new medical technology effectively. It's an ingenious and impactful use of animatronic.
Coming in at number 11, we've got one of my all-time favorite animatronics.
If you recall our previous video, we dove deep into an amazing robot crafted by Walt Disney Imagineering. Many eagle-eyed fans among you spotted an uncanny resemblance to the animatronic DJ from Daft Punk's Technologic video. And yes, you were onto something. But before jumping to conclusions, did you know these two are not related at all? The legendary Daft Punk duo, comprised of Guy Manuel de Homem Christo and Thomas Bangalter, are globally acclaimed not just for their catchy beats, but also their flair for creating spectacular videos. In Technologic, there's this peculiar animatronic character which, if you're a diehard fan, you'd recognize as a DJ. Throughout the video, this slightly eerie robotic figure shares the stage with a TV and, of course, with our beloved Daft Punk robots. Now, the backstory of this animatronic is riveting. It was fashioned by Tony Gardner, a renowned artist who's graced iconic films such as Seed of Chucky, Zombieland, Hairspray, and 127 Hours. Does Seed of Chucky ring a bell? Well, here's the juicy part. Besides these films, Tony is the mastermind behind the iconic Daft Punk helmets. Many have remembered that DJ bears a striking resemblance to the Chucky animatronic, and there's a pretty logical reason for that. According to various sources, there's buzz that DJ is actually one of the animatronics used in the Seed of Chucky movie. Yes, the very same Chucky that's haunted many of our nighttime reveries for years. It's fascinating to think how an animatronic can lead such a varied life, from the realm of horror cinema to an iconic music video.
We couldn't make this list without something to terrify anyone with submechanophobia.
This ride that you see here is a truly unique roller coaster located at Djurs Sommerland in Denmark. The attraction is called Treasure Island, and it is a thrilling mix between a water coaster and a pirate adventure ride. It features a 72-foot drop and countless twists and turns. But the most spectacular and terrifying part of this journey is the enormous kraken. This creature has massive tentacles and an imposing presence that makes it a standout feature of your ride. You encounter this kraken at the very beginning of the ride. Before you meet this sea monster, you'll come across some animatronic skeletons striking some cool poses. Then, just before the ride truly begins, you're faced with the gigantic octopus, perched in a small waterbed with a wrecked ship and guarding a treasure chest. The animatronic kraken can move its eyes and tentacles, and its sheer size is what makes it so terrifying. This impressive animatronic was created by MK-themed attraction. This attraction is incredibly popular, and it's easy to see why. What do you think? Is it terrifying or super cool?
Number 9 is a monstrosity even scarier than Bruce himself.
This horrifying megalodon created by Gore Galore, leaders in haunted house props. This animatronic operates mounted on a track with full motion capabilities, capable of biting at or bumping into unsuspecting victims. It's undoubtedly one of the largest animatronics in Gore Galore's arsenal, and comes in 2 versions, as a zombie shark or a terrifying megalodon. This creature features LED eyes and pneumatics to control jaw movement, with a control arm equipped with push-button controls. The best part is, if you happen to have $7,000 lying around, you can have it in your own home or attraction.
Now we're jumping into a community favorite, the legendary Zozobra. This segment was narrated by none other than the one and only Luce.
While this entry might not include an actual animatronic, and its burning is not accidental, we could not leave out this fantastic spectacle that is both impressive and interesting. Back in 1924, artist Will Schuster was inspired by the Yaqui people's tradition of burning a Judas effigy to create the first Zozobra burning. The first burning took place in his backyard, as a 6-foot effigy, and over the years, it has grown into a towering 50-foot high puppet. This puppet is made of wood, wire, cotton cloth, and most importantly, it is stuffed with lots of shredded paper. Why is this important? Well, because the whole concept of the burning is to burn away and destroy the worries and troubles of the previous year in the flames. So the papers usually include obsolete police reports, paid-off mortgages, and even divorce papers. People can also write down the nature of their gloom on a slip of paper and leave it in the gloom box so it can be added to the stuffing of the monster. Zozobra is a dark and eerie character, part ghost and part monster, and its name means anxiety in Spanish. Schuster personally oversaw the construction of the Zozobra figure until 1964, when he gave his detailed model and an archive of drawings and scripts to the Kiwanis Club of Santa Fe, so they could continue this tradition. The event in itself is fantastic. Zozobra is supposed to be the enemy of all that is good. As legend has it, he casts a spell of darkness and despair over Santa Fe each year, and is burned from the bad deeds of everyday people. The goal is to lure this evil guy out in the light of day, so his mortal enemy, the fire spirit, can burn him to the ground. So, once nightfall arrives, fire dancers come out to perform. A fire spirit dancer also comes out, dressed in red with a headdress and carrying 2 flaming torches. There are also children dressed in white called glooms, and the fire dancer's role is to scare away the glooms, symbolizing the light that dispels the darkness and negativity of the year. As the dancers perform on stage, Zozobra's arms and head move, and he emits groans. After the dance, the marionette is set on fire with attached fireworks. Once the puppet collapses, more fireworks are set off. This is a fantastic event, where people can usher in happiness and optimism, which will last until the following year. This festival also served as inspiration for the Burning Man creators after they experienced it in the early 1980s.
At number 7, we've got something truly terrifying, and the one bringing it to life is none other than my amazing girlfriend, Lilly Belle.
This is the Proto-Clone, a creation of clone robotics. And honestly, this could be the beginning of a sci-fi horror movie. And not just because of its terrifying design, but because of the potential consequences of an autonomous robot.
Seriously, did we learn nothing from Terminator, Mithrigan, or iRobot?
Apparently not. But what exactly is this technological abomination? Who created it? And why? Clone Robotics is a Polish-American company specializing in biomimetic robotics. Their goal is to develop humanoid robots that faithfully mimic human anatomy and functionality. This is supposedly meant to enable a more natural and efficient interaction between humans and machines.
Translation, we are dangerously close to robots replacing us. Well, you.
Why is it so unsettling? The proto-clone has sparked mixed reactions. Its faceless design and jerky, unnatural movements and demonstrations have been labeled as terrifying and dystopian. Because, obviously, who wouldn't want a faceless robot moving erratically in their home? Right now, the proto-clone is still in its development and testing phase. But pay attention. Clone Robotics plans to produce a limited edition of 279 units called Clone Alpha, and will start taking pre-orders this year. These robots are expected to perform household tasks like cleaning, cooking, and organizing, as well as be used in healthcare and manufacturing. Do you think these machines and AI advancements are the future, or the beginning of humanity's downfall?
Now we're moving on to one of my worst fears, animatronic spiders. This segment is presented by my father, Sauko, with his unique and charming accent. Some say it's from Eastern Europe, but that's not true. You'll never know where he's from, only the true fans of the channel know.
Our next attraction possibly shows one of the largest and most terrifying spiders on this list. In 1992, Haunted House opened at Alton Towers, becoming one of the most iconic rides in the park for a long time. This dark ride took us on a tour of Emily and Henry Alton's house to meet some of its more interesting residents, while going through the endless Great Hall, or the more sinister sounding Ghost Corridor. But the worst of all, the Hall of Spiders. In this room, a super creepy voice asks us if we are scared of spiders. Then, out of nowhere, you came face to face with a terrifying giant spider. The spider's design was brutal. It is no wonder that what people remember most about this ride is the scene. In 2003, the ride changed to become interactive with laser guns and was renamed Duo. The Haunted House Strikes Back. With a new storyline, the ride underwent some modification. However, in 2022, it closed again for Emily to take control of the house once more.
Now we're moving on to a mechatronic abomination, capable of devouring humans and anything in its path.
Another contender created for Shark Week, this time Discovery Channel, along with the Mythbusters, commissioned the creation of Sharkzilla to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Shark Week. They came up with a gigantic 52-foot metallic megalodon capable of demolishing a jet ski and practically anything in its path with its bite. Technifex was responsible for bringing this destruction machine to life. Technifex's megalodon replica is a 52-foot mechanical marvel, with a lifelike inflatable vinyl body and 92 steel teeth cast from real megalodon fossils. It mirrors the fearsome bite of a great white shark, unleashing a formidable 20,000-pound bite force with its 8,000-pound ductile iron jaws.
This one's a classic. We covered it all the way back in 2018. The good old days. No TikTok, no AI. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's get back to the horror.
The long overdue Little Mermaid Dark Ride finally arrived in Disney California Adventure in 2011, and in Magic Kingdom in 2012. In this ride, there are over 200 animatronic figures, but one of these animatronics stands out. A 7.5-foot tall, 12-foot wide Ursula animatronic sings, casts spells over her cauldron, and bounces along in her slithery, serpentine manner of choice with incredible detail, a surprising range of movement, and super elastic skin. The creepy mood is set when we see Flotsam and Jetsam, Ursula's pet eels, welcoming us to the Sea Witch's lair. We enter the mouth of an enormous sea dragon skeleton, and here's where we find Ursula singing "Poor Unfortunate Souls," standing at her crystal ball and surrounded by her collection of lost souls. This animatronic is one of the largest ever created, and it is so lifelike it looks really creepy. But nothing compares to when the animatronic malfunctioned back in January of this year. Ursula lost her head. The creepiest thing about it is that the animatronic kept working, so she kept singing with her head hanging.
And we've made it to our top 3. From this point on, things are about to get seriously terrifying.
Mimic is a sci-fi horror created by Guillermo del Toro, which tells the tale of a genetically manipulated insect, originally designed to combat the rising cockroach population in New York City, which begins to mutate and take on human-like characteristics, and also develop the ability to mimic its predators physically. Director Guillermo del Toro was determined to make the mimics as realistic as possible, and to achieve that goal, he turned to practical effects and animatronics. To do this, he asked the help of the Character Shop, a studio specializing in creature effects, who were tasked with creating the mimics. First, they built several animatronic puppets of various sizes, from small rod puppets to a full-scale 7-foot-tall creature. The puppets were made from lightweight materials like polyester resin, fiberglass, and vacuum-formed plastic, which allowed for fluid and organic movements. The heads and mandibles were radio-controlled, while the limbs were rod-operated. The animatronics could be puppeteered by anywhere from 4 to 11 puppeteers, depending on the shot. The mimics' design also had to consider their motion and behavior. The team studied the locomotion of insects and other animals to create a believable and consistent movement for the creatures. For example, when mimicking humans, the mimics could walk on all 6 limbs, using a triad locomotion, or stand upright on 4 legs. The team also took artistic liberties with the design to enhance the creatures' abilities and make them more menacing. Despite the challenges of creating the animatronics, the end result was a stunning and terrifying portrayal of these creatures. The creatures were brought to life in a way that CGI alone never could achieve, and their realistic movements and organic appearance added a level of terror to the film that would have been impossible with digital effects alone.
This next animatronic comes from a movie that's honestly pure chaos. I seriously recommend watching it just because of how bizarre it is. You won't know whether to laugh, cry, or just turn off the TV.
Welcome to the freaky and twisted world of Black Sheep, a horror movie like no other. This movie tells the story of a sprawling farm where a genetic engineering experiment goes terribly wrong, turning innocent sheep into bloodthirsty zombies that terrorize the unsuspecting inhabitants of the farm. Jonathan King, the director of the film. Enter Weta, the visual and special effects experts who help bring some of the biggest blockbusters to life with their incredible work. Weta saw the storyboards and knew they had to use practical effects for the film. In addition, they wanted to give it a retro style and make the actors interact with the zombie sheep as closely as possible to create an immersive and realistic experience. Weta's team of experts got to work, creating animatronic puppets to make the sheep look as terrifying and convincing as possible. But it wasn't just the sheep that required special effects. One scene needed a sheep to attack a character in a moving truck. To make this scene work, the Weta team designed a special rig to control the animatronic by remote control while the car was in motion. This scene was an incredible feat for the team. What makes Black Sheep stand out is its use of practical effects. It was created using old-school techniques that are seldom seen in today's movies. The designers even created an animatronic suit for the gargantuan mutant sheep monster used in the final battle, and it was absolutely incredible to watch. This film is a must-watch for anyone who loves horror movies or appreciates the art of practical effects.
And now we've reached the scariest, most bone-chilling moment on the entire list. I'm signing off for now, but I hope you have an amazing and slightly spooky day. Don't forget to reserve your Lilly Belle plushie. Every single order helps bring her to life. And now, to close things out in style, here's Luce with the final segment.
We've arrived at our #1 pick from you, the abandoned Magic Land dinosaurs. Magic Land was a theme park in Cairo, Egypt that opened in 1996. It was considered one of the best theme parks in the area, and it had many activities and attractions for guests to enjoy. One of these attractions was Dinosaur Island. Now, if you're looking for accuracy, then look somewhere else, because this attraction had cavemen battling dinosaurs. But hey, when we talk about entertainment, we sometimes don't care about accuracy, right? This ride was a water ride that took guests back in time to see several animatronic dinosaurs, cavemen, and mammoths. But one of the most terrifying aspects about this ride was the Brontosaurus. This animatronic was not only in water, but it was also so close to the boats that you could actually touch it. Just look at that. I can only imagine how deteriorated the animatronic became after a while because of how near it was to the guests. Sadly, Magic Land closed in 2011. And while most of the park was demolished, the Dinosaur Island attraction was left abandoned, with all of its animatronics rotting away. There was a rumor back in 2015 that the park would open again the following year, But that never happened, and the animatronics are probably still there, abandoned and surrounded by the elements. That's such a sad ending for any animatronic.